Imagine yourself for a moment, knee-deep in a trench, gunfire going around each ear, and your brothers on each side that you have to protect and help serve your country. Sergeant York experienced this, and he rose above it and became a great American hero. My name is Casey Revis, and today I'd like to tell you a little bit about an American hero named Sergeant Alvin York. First, we're going to begin with his early life and what he was like before the war, and then we're going to go into his greatest achievements and what he did during the war, and then we're going to go into his later life and everything that happened after the war with Sergeant York. I hope after this you have a thorough understanding about an American hero named Sergeant York, and I hope that you really get a great deal of stuff out of this. The website militaryhistoryabout.com shows York, the third of 11 children, had to work hard on the farm and provide for his family most of his life, and he had little time for education. Where he lacked in education, though, he was a great shot and a great woodsman. After his father's death, he had to help his mother take care of his brothers, so he became a logger and a laborer in Harriman, Tennessee. While he was working, he became an avid drunk, and he was involved in many bar fights. Despite his mother's pleas, he still continued on to fight in bars and to drink recklessly. This continued until 1914, when a friend of his named Everett Dolk was killed in a bar fight, and it shook York up, and he realized that he had to get better, and so he joined the Church of Christ. It was a strict church that forbade fighting, and it had a strict moral code. It was there that he met his future wife, Gracie Williams, through the church. It wasn't until June 5, 1917 that York received a notice for the draft. Even though his moral obligations forbade him from fighting, he knew that he had to go for his country. Drafted at 30 into Company G, the 82nd Infantry Division, he was stationed in Camp Gordon in Georgia. A great shot, he was still considered strange because he did not wish to fight. It wasn't until Captain Edward Danforth convinced him that fighting was justified that he decided that he would fight for his country. In France, York and his division were ordered to take Hill 223 and sever the Deccanville Railroad north of Châtel-Chehery. The next morning they succeeded in taking it, and they had to move onward. It was as they moved onward that they became under machine gun fire. 17 men, led by Sergeant Bernard Early, including York, were sent off to go around the German rear and cut them off. They successfully sneaked around the German defenses and took over a headquarters and captured many prisoners, including a major. It was then that the machine gunners realized what had happened, and they turned their attention towards them, killing 7 men and injuring 2, one of them being Bernard, which was left York in charge. York stayed behind and started picking off soldiers one by one. And then it was that 6 German soldiers came out of the trench charging at him with bayonets, and he pulled out his side handgun and took down all 6 of them. It was then that he continued to pick them off one by one with his rifle, and he eventually just urged them to stop so he wouldn't have to kill any more. It was said that he killed close to 25 men that day, and him and the rest of his soldiers brought in 132 prisoners to their camp. After this, he was promoted to sergeant, and he was awarded the Distinguished Medal of Honor. After the war, he still did some amazing things. He was wooed by filmmakers and advertising companies, but he decided he wanted to go back to Tennessee and see his family. That June, he married Gracie Williams. And several years later, they had several children. And according to History.com, York was a celebrity and was involved in many speaking tours. And in 1941, a film starring Gary Cooper, who won an Academy Award from it, called Sergeant York, was a box office hit. He made educational possibilities capable for children in his area, and he made sure everything was going good in his area all the time after the war. He was a great man, and I'd like to conclude with everything we've talked about this man today. We learned about his early life before the war, and then we discussed his achievements, such as his Medal of Honor and him being promoted to sergeant. And then we left off with a little bit of his later life and what happened to him after the war. Overall, Sergeant York was an amazing American hero, and I hope you enjoyed the trip through his journey as much as I did. Thank you.